Hello, my name is Barry. I am 23 years old, and I was involved in the Catholic Church for 21 years. So, being a Catholic for the majority of my life, this meant that the majority of the people in my life were also Catholic and also part of the church. And so what that meant was that I had to come out and be straightforward about not being Catholic anymore. And for some people, that can be a very scary and anxious process. For some people, coming out as not Catholic anymore can be something dangerous, depending on how old you are, how financially dependent you are on a parent or someone. Coming out may not be an option for you, and for that, I am really sorry. I can make a separate video about how to cope with living in a Catholic household, unable to come out as ex-Catholic. But for now, this is a video for people who are looking for tips on how to come out to your friends and family. If you assess that your situation is safe and that you are completely out of the church and you feel like it's time to share that with the people you care about in your life, and you're feeling really stressed out about how to approach the topic, I wanted to offer just a few tips that have seemed to help some people I've talked to on the internet about this topic from my own experience. Number one, understanding the hardship that it is for these people to understand. So for a lot of deeply devoted people, when you come out as ex-Catholic, they may have a tough time understanding why. And that is your choice as to whether or not to share why you left. You're not obligated to. Some people want to share, and you can. Whether or not that's the case, I think something that helps some people accept it a bit better is for you to show them that you understand where they're coming from. Some people may feel worried for you, they may feel disappointed, they may feel frustrated, and recognizing that as you're presenting this information to them may help soften the blow that you are taking their feelings into consideration. Unfortunately, the fact of the matter is, whether or not you agree that the Catholic Church is a cult, there are some factions of it that have cult-like qualities. And for a lot of Catholics, they have been told all their lives, or if you want to say brainwashed, to think that people who are not in the church, they're worried. They're worried for your spiritual well-being. Any resentment that comes out, unfortunately, is just misdirected worry and concern for you. I'm not saying that means that you should withstand it, definitely hold your ground, but it's important to understand that these people have been brainwashed to think these things probably pretty much all of their lives. And the hard fact of the matter is, there may be a point where you have to accept for the time being that this person's going to have to process this and they're not going to understand it. That is a real possibility. And worst case scenario, that they may never understand. And I hope that isn't the case for you. Number two, being a good person will always be important to you. Telling your friends and family that you are coming out to that despite that you're leaving the church, being an ethical and caring person is always going to be something that's important to you, no matter what, whether in or out of the church. This may help them reframe where you're coming from. Number three, the reality of drifting. More than likely, if you are a cradle Catholic or even a convert who got heavily involved in your church, much of your social life and social network is made up of Catholics. Your friends, your family, youth group, the people that you go get coffee with, the people you go to church with, the people that you spend your free time with may be Catholic, the people that you confide in. Unfortunately, there is a great inevitability that you will end up drifting from these people. Not because they dislike you or you dislike them, it's just a shift in values, perhaps. A new tension has risen in the relationship, and you may find that for the time being that you're floating among friend groups and social groups as you drift. I can assure you this is a temporary stage. Absolutely, you will end up finding people who are like-minded to yourself, I promise. You may find that you end up in a grieving process about your old friendships. You may find that people that you thought were your friends, people that you thought cared about you on a human level, are just not comfortable around you anymore. And if that is the case, it's going to hurt. There's no getting around that. This is something that I'm still currently struggling with after being out of the church for about 2 years now. But I promise you're going to find friends who genuinely like you for who you are outside of the church. Not because of how devout you are, not because of what prayers you pray, not because of the saints that you bond over with. They like you because of your music taste, because of the things that you watch, the things that you say, your thoughts, and your feelings. These people are going to get to know the real you, and these people are going to be better friends than you could have ever had in the church. And number 4, embracing your freedom. You're out of the church now, and with that comes varying degrees of freedom. And for you and me and everyone else, it may look different. But celebrate that you can be yourself. Celebrate that you can have your own thoughts about socio-political topics now without turning to an entity to tell you what they think first. Celebrate that you can admit to yourself what music that you actually like, how you actually feel about your gender or sexuality. Celebrate that you get to be you, finally, without any restrictions. You're on a journey of self-discovery. It's going to be a new time to find out who you are and what your identity is outside of the church. And while sometimes this may come with some anxiety, some feelings of loss, some feelings of depression, I promise you, what is coming is you getting to know yourself better and being honest with yourself. And this is something that is one of the most empowering things that you may ever experience, even if it's just on a small level. I can tell you for myself personally, I came out as queer as well as coming out as ex-Catholic at 2 different times. And for me personally, coming out as an ex-Catholic has been and was much, much harder than coming out as queer. There's really no blueprint, no map, no baseline for what coming out as an ex-Catholic looks like in our society, at least not one that I have been aware of since my time coming out. Thankfully, we have decades of examples of coming out stories in the LGBT community, and this is awesome. And I hope that in the future, in the ex-Catholic community, we will see a roadmap for something like this, something that we can look to for motivation and guidance during a time like this. And with that, I hope that my 4 tips help you in any way in your process of coming out of the church and sharing that with the people you care about. There are a lot of topics about being ex-Catholic that I want to continue talking about on this channel, since it is a big part of my life and will be for a long time. If you have any questions in the comments or looking for any advice, 1, I recommend the subreddit of ex-Catholics. That's the awesome subreddit. Number 2, you can ask in the comments and I can give you the best answer that I can. We can brainstorm together. Good luck with coming out to your family. I hope they are more accepting than you expect. Thank you for watching.